Majita Samrio, and welcome. We are streaming live from UNESCO in Newlands, Harare, Zimbabwe. This is the launch of a WhatsApp-based educational application that aims to distribute premium learning resources to learners who have little or no access to the internet, but have access to WhatsApp. The learning material will cover curriculum-specific resources such as notes, past papers, and marking schemes for grade 7s, Form 4s, and upper 6s. This is learning made easy. It is learning made accessible. This is the launch of Dzidzo Paden, Imfundwe'ndlini. Before I divulge too much information, I will now hand over to our Master of Ceremonies, Ms. Tariro Mugaya, who is going to ask a few questions to our distinguished guests. Over to you, Mr. Tariro Makanga.
Thank you very much, Majita. Indeed, this is a very noble initiative, the launch of Dzidzo Paden. I'm sure if you hear, actually tell it's something to do with young people learning from home. Dzidzo Paden, Imfundwe'ndlini. You know how you get it tongue-tied when you're speaking the other language. It's a very good morning and welcome. And this noble initiative is brought to you by UNESCO in partnership with the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education and ZIMSEC. Yes, Majveta has already given us a bit of background, but we're going to hear more in terms of what exactly is this initiative all about. Before we proceed, I would like to do a brief introductions of our dignitaries. We have in our presence Dr. Patricia Machawira. She is the Regional Advisor, Education for Health and Well-being from UNESCO, and she is on my extreme left. She's waving her hand. We also have representation from ZIMSEC. We have Mr. Charles Nyandoro. Mr. Nyandoro is the Acting Assistant Director, Test Design, Educational Assessment and Measurement, ZIMSEC. I'm sure if you can hear that title, that name, it talks about STEM and it links with really why we are here today. So we're excited to have you here. We have the big man himself, that's Truman Hamama Bundo. He is the initiator, the student who initiated the app. And we are also represented by two representatives from Amigo, who then assisted us in developing the app. Our representatives, you can raise your hands, yes. Truman, I didn't ask you to raise your hand because you are the main man here and people will definitely see you later. And as we proceed with our program, I would like to call upon Dr. Patricia Machawira to give us our welcome remarks. Over to you, Dr. Machawira.
Thank you to our Director of Ceremonies, Mr. Romakanga Chikumbirike. Can you hear me? It's fine. Okay. So, good morning to you all. I'll start by acknowledging the representatives from the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. We also have Mr. Charles Nyandoro, our partners from the Zimbabwe School Examinations Council, Truman, the young person behind the idea of Dzidzo Paden. We have Farai Goronga and Simbarashe Andres, our partners from Amigos, who supported us with some of the content for Dzidzo Paden. I understand we have some teachers in the house. Can I see by show of hands? Thank you and welcome, ma'am. We also have students from Zengeza High School. Can I see by wave of your hands? Welcome. We have ZTN staff and other media representatives here today. UNESCO staff present. Ladies and gentlemen, a refreshing morning to you all. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us this morning for the launch of this innovation, Dzidzo Paden, Dzidzo Pamatso, Imfundwe'ndlini. Like Tariro says, it will take time for us to get the pronunciation right, but I'm told that the young people prefer the name Dzidzo Paden because that's easily understood across the country. Let me wait and acknowledge the presence of the ministry.
Okay.
Morning, Mr. Dewa, acknowledging your presence. Thank you so much for coming, sir. Sorry? Exactly. You have to wear the UNESCO one now. It's our branding and visibility. So if you'll allow me, I'll continue, Master of Ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll agree with me that 2020 has been an unusual year. I think for the first time in memory, all schools in Zimbabwe were closed on the 24th of March. During the time when schools closed, it became very clear that while the lucky few were able to continue with their education via online lessons, for the majority of Zimbabweans, particularly those in the rural areas, learning stopped. This disparity in access was a huge concern for us at UNESCO and also for our partners at the ministry. Learners in Zimbabwe were out of school for almost 6 months. We were approached by a young man, Truman, sitting there, with the idea of a WhatsApp-based application to expand access to educational material for the majority of Zimbabweans. So we jumped at this idea because we were concerned that very few of our learners, those who had access to online learning, were able to continue with their education while the majority were struggling. So we saw Truman's idea as a more affordable way to get learning resources to all young people. So that's where the birth of the initiative Dzidzo Paden, Dzidzo Pamatso, Imfundwe'ndlini was birthed. For UNESCO, this was well aligned with our April 2020 joint statement with the Secretariat, where we both agreed to work together to ensure that learning does not stop even as schools were closed. And this is part of the UNESCO-led Global Education Coalition, which seeks to facilitate inclusive learning opportunities for children and youth during this period where schools were closed. Across the globe, we've also witnessed widespread school closures due to slow down the spread of COVID. So UNESCO is working with ministries of education in Zimbabwe and in many other countries to ensure that young people continue to learn through alternative channels. According to a recent report published by UNESCO, UNICEF, and the World Bank in October 2020, school children in low and lower middle income countries have already lost from anything from 4 to 6 months of schooling since the start of COVID, compared to 6 weeks loss in high income countries. The study, based on findings from surveys on national education sector responses to COVID-19, looked at lost learning, remote learning support for students, parents and teachers, school reopening plans, health protocols and financing. And it was carried out in nearly 150 countries between June and October of this year. So what we saw is that in our low and low to middle income countries, the number of months lost due to COVID were much, much more than if you compare to the 6 weeks that we are seeing in the more developed countries. So Truman's idea uses social media, and this idea of using social media to disseminate important messages is not new. With the coming in of COVID-19, we saw organizations such as the World Health Organization launching its World Health Alert Service on messaging from a platform, WhatsApp, as a way to reach young people with up-to-date information on COVID. Our intention with Dzidzo Paden is to get academic content onto platforms that learners and teachers are already using. So we know that WhatsApp is a very popular platform across the globe, boasting over 2 billion users globally, with 74% of young users, our Generation Z, signing up to it, according to data from Global Web Index. Critically, this deep penetration means education providers can leverage on this channel that many students already congregate on and offer a range of chat and notification-based digital services whose immediacy and personalization are ideally suited to servicing this mobile generation. So this app seeks to ensure all learning, even online courses, and it retains a human touch. If classes or lectures in a physical location are disrupted, WhatsApp can step in and offer virtual classes supported by text, video, and audio messaging. While WhatsApp does not represent a magic bullet for the challenges facing the education sector as it adjusts to this new normal, the platform does offer us with an important opportunity for reaching out and engaging with students on a channel that they already know, that they like, and that they also trust. In Zimbabwe, many students have access to WhatsApp, whether on their personal phones, through their friends, teachers, community members, or parents' phones. According to TechZim, over 5.2 million Zimbabweans are registered and active users on the WhatsApp platform. Because of this massive user base and end-to-end encryption, Facebook-owned WhatsApp has emerged as the best option for sharing information at a low cost. So UNESCO partnered with the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education with ZimSec and Amigos to make Truman's dream into a reality. Because of the short time frames, we prioritized the exam class of 2020. That is the grade 7, the Form 4s, and the Form 6s, to ensure that they have access to educational material as they prepare for exams. I was just chatting with Mr. Nyandoro about how this group has really been severely disadvantaged, this class of 2020. And I was trying to get a sense from him of whether they're going to adjust the exam. You heard that he's responsible for test design, whether they're going to adjust the exam to this reality that young people faced. And he assured me that they work towards very rigorous standards and they will not be adjusting the exam. So I think it's important that these young people are really supported with material as they prepare for their exams. If we look at young people, particularly in rural areas, access to textbooks remains a challenge. So we found young people at home with no learning materials. So at least if they're able to access, we heard that the content that is on the chatbot is notes, past exam papers, and marking schemes. Students can work in groups. They can work even with the support of teachers and older siblings to help them as they prepare for their exams. We also took the opportunity to include COVID-19 information on the app because we think this is still important during this time of COVID. So as we speak today, I was checking with our partners from Amigos. The app has been accessed. It has 5,024 users, and live users currently is 1,493. So beyond today's launch, I think it will be important that we keep the chatbot alive, current, and exact. What do I mean? It means that we all must continuously find, develop, and share new content to attract, engage, and support learners to catch up with learning and to prepare for examinations. I think for UNESCO and partners, our target was to reach out to the class of 2020. But as we move into 2021, we want to expand this to include all the other grades. We're also talking about, including other opportunities. For example, scholarship opportunities that are advertised. That's maybe some young people don't have access to. We can put a little button with scholarships. There's so much that we can do to make sure that we are expanding access, particularly to those who are not as fortunate. So I hope that the launch of this platform today is only a beginning. And to our partners, I hope we can continuously count on you and engage you to get more and updated content as it comes. Zimbabwe currently has a new curriculum. We are keen to ensure that the content of the app really is in line with the new curriculum. We need to up our efforts towards empowering, especially the most marginalized children, to access vital academic and also health information from this app. Thank you very much, and I wish you a pleasant launch. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Dr. Machawira, for that, for those welcome remarks. I'm sure you can agree with me that with Dzidzo Paden, definitely learning must not stop, like what UNESCO and partners are striving for. We continue with our program, and now we're going to hear from the man himself. And here we are looking at hearing from Truman. Just the name, I think your parents, it was prophetic. He's a true man, you know, as young as he is, and coming up with such an innovation. I tried to go on the chat box, true man, because when Ruth sent me the number, and then when I went there and I'm like, hi, Tari, it already picked my name. And then I'm like, okay, let me proceed. Then it asked my age, and I'm like, oh my goodness, all right, bye-bye. So over to you, Truman.
Thank you so much, Tariro, for the opportunity. Good morning, everyone. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the whole UNESCO organization, the representatives that are here, Dr. Patricia, Mr. Lucas. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of our partners from Zimbabwe School Examinations Council, and also our partners in Amigo Education, all protocol observed. My name is Truben, and I'm the founder of Dzidzo Paden. I'm 18, and I'm a law sixth at St. George's College. I'm extremely honored and humbled to be here, standing in front of you, talking about an idea that became a reality. The first time that I thought of the idea of Dzidzo Paden was in May, when there was this competition. And then there was a picture that I was circulating of this other girl who was evidently in a raw setting, and she was holding 2 water containers. And the caption read, "We are not against online learning, but what about us?" That's when I started to realize that this is actually a big problem, because here I was, learning online, but I realized that a lot of students out there were not even able to get the resources to continue their education. I started thinking of solutions, what we could have done, what we could do to ensure that that gap is filled, because a lot of people who were circulating the picture were more focused on the problem, but not necessarily the solution. That's when I thought of WhatsApp. What if we could just send resources to students on WhatsApp, especially when, according to TechZim, about 5.2 million Zimbabweans are on WhatsApp? It means that we could reach a wider audience in Zimbabwe, especially since the students would have access to WhatsApp, whether on their personal phones, their parents' phones, or their siblings' phones, anyone's phone, really, which has access to WhatsApp. So that's when, myself, I do not have any coding experience, and I do not have any financial resources. That's when I decided to send an email to the director of UNESCO, the regional office, Professor Hubert. And then I was a bit pessimistic, because, why would the director of a huge organization pay attention to an 18-year-old's email? But I strongly believed in my idea. Long story short, he decided to jump on the idea, and then the rest is history. They decided to help me, and here we are. You see, Dzidzo Paden is a name that I believe embraces our youthfulness. This is a platform that is intended to help all the young people in Zimbabwe, and we're hoping that we reach a wider audience and make this a trend, and make sure that each and every child across Zimbabwe has access to these resources. You see, Dzidzo Paden is not just an idea or a concept. It is a vision of a Zimbabwe where each and every child has an equal opportunity to succeed academically. Right now, a lot of students do not have access to these resources. And I know for a fact that Dzidzo Paden is not going to affect each and every student. It's not going to help each and every student. But I believe it is a step in the right direction. We believe it is a step in the right direction of providing an inclusive approach to our education system, because every child in Zimbabwe deserves a chance to succeed academically. I'm proud to announce that to date, we have accumulated over 5,000 users, and we have over 1,000 daily users, which is a huge milestone, but we really hope that these numbers are going to expand exponentially over the course of the next few days or the next few weeks, because as we said, we are rolling out resources for exam classes, and just before they write their exams, we're hoping that they can have a session with our chatbot and get the resources that will hopefully make them pass their exams. My speech would not be complete if I do not give gratitude where it's due. Firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Tamuka, founder of Top Flight Arts and Science Conference, a pitch contest which I entered in May, which gave me affirmation that this idea is worth pursuing, which fueled my desire and everything else that happened. Secondly, I'd like to thank my parents and my brothers, Moton, who's here, who have not only given me motivation to do each and everything that I can to be a change maker, but have also given me criticism that has allowed me to grow. Thirdly, I would like to thank our content providers and our partners, Zimsek and Amigo, who are injecting thousands of resources to ensure that students across Zimbabwe get those resources in due time and are able to study for their exams. I would also like to thank Begast House, a local marketing agency, because all the branding that you see here would not have been possible without their tremendous work. We greatly appreciate them. Lastly, and more importantly, I'd like to thank the whole UNESCO organization, because quite frankly, without them, none of this would have been possible. They put in their resources, they put in their work and dedication. I'd like to thank the whole organization, from the director, Professor Hubert, to Dr. Patricia, Mr. Lucas, Mrs. Ruth, and Mr. Don, whom I've worked with from day one, and we've been just working on this idea day in, day out. I would also like to thank them for their kindness, their patience, and just allowing me to grow in this idea. Now, as I finish my speech, I'd like to end with a quote that I find relevant in this setting. This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but rather just the end of the beginning. There's more to come. The vision is larger than this. As Dr. Patricia said, there are a lot of things that we want to do with this chatbot. For instance, we want to provide resources for grade 1s to upper 6s, because it's not only the exam classes that need these resources. So the vision is great, and we will sit down and say the vision is complete once we achieve all these objectives that we have met. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant day.
Right, Truman has just given us a breakdown on what the WhatsApp-based educational application will do for us. And I just thought maybe let me just reiterate for those that are watching at home and those around us. Can you imagine that somebody who studied mathematics, physics, chemistry, and English language realized that he wasn't going to be held back by subjects, but to think broader, to think for everybody, and think of an educational application that caters for us all? For us all, it includes those that are the most vulnerable, those that do not even have access to these resources that we think are easy to come by. Something like WhatsApp is going to be helping to disseminate learning resources to these educational institutions, and it's also going to be creating dialogue for UNESCO to be able to directly distribute information to parents, teachers, and learners. This platform is also going to be encouraging learning on hygiene, health, COVID-19 pandemics, as well as giving more information on infectious diseases, as well as this coronavirus. As you said, there are 5.2 million users, Truman, that use WhatsApp, as you said, through the statistics. And it is also very encouraging that this is now going to be a cost-effective and easy way of disseminating vital information for learners. Thank you for your innovation. I will now hand over to Ms. Tariro.
Thank you very much, Majita. What's amazing about Truman is after he saw that meme of the girl, most of us were talking about the problem, and we never thought of the solution. And for him, he thought of the solution, hence the reason why we are gathered here today. I'm going to go back again to Truman so that he can now demonstrate this WhatsApp chatbot. Over to you, Truman.
Thank you so much, Tariro. So I'm going to give a visual representation of how this chatbot works and what exactly is on the chatbot so that you get a better understanding. So in a nutshell, what you do is, before I start the visual demonstration, you get this contact, you save it, and then you send a message, hi, and then it will immediately show you a menu. So I've already registered, but for a person who hasn't registered, it will show a registration form where they have to fill in their age, their level, like primary, advanced level, and then they also have to put their province. This is mainly for analytics and to see who is using this platform. So I'll begin. You send hi to the system, and then what it does is it sends you a menu where you have to choose from. So as you can see here, we have resources for grade 7s, Form 4s, and upper 6s. So what you do is when you're in grade 7 or upper 6 or form 4, you just click the relevant link. So for example, I'm a grade 7, I'll click the link here, and then it will immediately put some text at the bottom here. And then what you do is you just send the text. That's what you do. And then once you send it, it's going to give you a list of all the subjects in that particular form or grade that are available in the system. So here, as you can see, we have math, we have English, Shona, Ndebele, general paper, agriculture, and heritage studies. So you just choose whichever you want to do. If you want to do heritage, you just click the relevant link. So for example, we just use the first one as an example. Let's say I want to do English. I'll just click the link. And then again, it will put some text at the bottom. And what you do is you just send the message. Once you send the message, sorry, let me choose. Right. Once you send the message, it is going to show you another menu to choose from. As Dr. Patricia alluded to, we have notes, we have past exam papers, and we have mark schemes for all the subjects that are in the system. So for example here, I need some notes. I'll again click the link, and then it will put the message at the bottom. What you just need to do is to send it. Once you send it, it's going to show each and every resource that is in the system. As you can see here, we have quite a number of resources for the English class for grade 7s. So say I want to learn a bit of English writing. I'm going to click the link at the top, and then again, I'm going to get the message. Now this message, what it does is, it then automatically sends a signal to the chatbot to get the resources, to get the PDF files, the PowerPoint presentation, or any other resource that you need at that time. So as you can see, it has already been sent. What you just need to do now is just to download the PDF file. Once you download it, you're good to go. It has been saved offline, which means even if you do not have WhatsApp bundles all the time, you're able to access all the resources that you would have downloaded. As you can see here, this is a PDF file that I've already downloaded, and I can even read now, you know. So what will just be left is to revise, and then hopefully you pass your exams. Now, this is basically how it works. So, for example, if you're Form 4, Upper 6, you just do the same thing. So, you just send hi again, and then it gives you that menu again. So, if you're in Upper 6, Form 4, you just click the relevant link. It's the same process, and it's easy, and you just get the resources that you do. So, this is a visual representation of how the chatbot works. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Truman. So I would like, before he sits down, do we have any questions of clarity? I'll take 2 or 3. Any questions that we have for the main man, for Truman? Do we have any questions? Yes, he has demonstrated how the chat works. Dr. Machagura, is that a hand? Yes.
Thank you, Truman, for your presentation. So there are a couple of people who've received the contact for the app and who tried. Is there a function to help users who struggle with accessing?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Like, do they send a message and don't get a message in return?
Yes, sometimes you send a message, and then if in cases where you don't get a message in return, is there a function to help? Yeah.
Okay, that's great. No, usually we have to maintain and upgrade the system. So sometimes when we are uploading some extra resources into the system, we have to temporarily shut it down. So what they just need to do is to be a bit patient and then send a message a bit later. It will definitely respond. Other than that, there's nothing else there's nothing additional to the system.
Is it possible for you then to send a message to say our system is temporarily down so that users are... maybe you guys can consider that.
Sure thing. I'll engage with Andrea and we'll discuss if it's possible, but I'm sure it is. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other question? If you've got a question, raise your hand and then the mic is brought to you. Okay, we have a question here from Mr. Lucas.
Thank you very much, Truman, for the demonstration. I was wondering if we also have health education information on the platform. I understood that we have some coronavirus prevention and infection control information on the chatbot, which is relevant for all of us, including all the learners.
Definitely. I'm sure the resources are in there. What we just need to do is to update the menu so that we add another part for the information, so that if a person wants them, they can just click the link, maybe beneath the Form 6 tab. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other question? Any other question? I wanted to find out. I've got a question.
Sure.
I left when it asked me about the age, and when I heard Dr. Machawira speaking, this app is supposed to help. Even you mentioned the need to assist parents and children.
Exactly.
So for us as parents, what happens there? I'm not in Form 6, I'm not in grade 7, I'm not in Form 4, but I want to see what happens so that I can use it to assist my kids.
Sure, that's a very good question. Well, it's not limited to grade 7s, Form 4s, and upper 6s on registration. Even if you are a mom or a grandmother, you can still access the system and get the resources. So I think to parents out there, I'll just say, even if it asks for your age, just register so that you give the resources to your children, and because they need them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll take a last question from Mr. Lucas so that we can proceed with our program.
No, it's just to complement what Truman has said. In fact, when we were interacting with the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, we actually improved the system to ensure that we are able to capture information for parents, teachers, and the learners, whoever is accessing the platform. We need to know when we are analyzing who is accessing on whose behalf and from where. So there's also district and school name from where you are accessing the information, because we need to know if those marginalized people are really able to access and use the platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's indeed good news. Can the microphone move to Dr. Machawira? Indeed, good news for us parents. We can actually join. We can be part of the chatbot and work together in terms of assisting our children. Be part of the chatbot. Yes, Dr. Machawira.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. I just wanted you to give an opportunity to the students and the teacher. Maybe they have questions.
Okay. Maybe we start with the teacher.
Morning to you all. I was just commenting on our way from school on the availability of resources in terms of money to buy bundles. But already when Truman explained, I was really answered. Thank you, Truman.
Thank you so much.
Any question from my student? The teacher is appreciating the fact that you can actually download the data and then use it without being online. So that's quite noble. Yes.
No, I've got no question, but the idea is brilliant.
The idea is
Thank
brilliant.
you, Truman.
Thank you so much. Thank you
All
so
right. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll proceed. I think, Truman, thank you very much and well done. I think he deserves a round of applause. Well done, and our hope is to young people who might be watching us that we are going to have many Trumans in Zimbabwe. This is innovation. When we talk about the importance of STEM within our educational system, I think we can actually see the benefits. And thank you to UNESCO and partners for assisting Truman to make his dream become a reality. We'll move on with our program, and I'm going to call upon ZIMSEC to come and give us a solidarity message. So, Mr. Nyandoro, if you could come forward and give us your solidarity message.
Gentlemen and all, I would like, on behalf of ZIMSEC, to thank UNESCO for inviting us to this launch of Dzidzo Paden. As ZIMSEC, our mandate is to assess and measure learners' performance. This assessment can only be meaningful if the learners or candidates have covered expected syllabus and covered expected curriculum, including preparing for examinations. This concept, Dzidzo Paden, embraces all this. We appreciate the use of our material on this platform and hope to support you in future endeavors. To Truman, the founder of this concept, I say this is not the end. Expand your vision and keep innovating. your innovations coming. Thank you so much.
Indeed, this should just be the beginning. We will be looking forward to more innovations and even having countries adopting what has started from Zimbabwe. So we are hoping that the chatbot goes global, and we'll be talking about an innovation from Zimbabwe. I would like to call upon a student representative to give us his solidarity message.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all protocols observed. Standing in front of you is none other than Ruben Chasi, a representative from Zengeza 3 High. I am honored to be standing in front of you all, and I would like to thank our innovator, Mr. Truman. On behalf of my colleagues, I would like to say a few about the advantages and disadvantages of learning online using WhatsApp platform. I'll start by stating the advantages. The easier attendance, in the sense that one can attend a lesson even though he is ill. For an example, a student might be suffering from chicken pox, and the doctor suggests that he or she must stay at the hospital for a few days. The student can listen to audios sent by the teacher whilst he's at the hospital. Thereby you will not be left, or you will be up to date. And as well, there is easier access to teachers in that when you're at school, the teachers might have a lot of work to do and a lot of students to attend to, but you can just inbox the teacher and ask whatever you want to. And as well, there is unlimited participation. Students can participate more on WhatsApp platform rather than when they are in class, because some students might not have the confidence to raise their own points of views, and they might not have the confidence to speak face-to-face with the teachers, but it is easy via WhatsApp platform. And as well, it improves self-discipline. Students become self-disciplined in that there is nobody controlling them, and they will have less influence from friends, and there is less peer pressure, so that they will not have any negative influence from friends. And as well, it improves productivity and increases the pass rate, in that students can revisit the work that the teachers might have sent on the group. For an example, the teacher can record a video teaching a certain topic, and the students can revisit that video several times, resulting in high pass rate. And as well, it saves time and reduces costs. Working and studying from home is not difficult. It saves time spent on walking from home to school. And it reduces the transport costs. Although learning on WhatsApp platform has a lot of advantages, we cannot ignore the disadvantages. I will move on to the disadvantages of learning online using WhatsApp platform. It requires time management skills, and as well there is limited social interaction of students and teachers. It is not suitable for every topic, and there is lack of practical based subjects. For an example, they might want to carry out an experiment which requires, or which is difficult to do outside the laboratory, so it will be difficult. And as well, online students' feedback is limited, and there is lack of communicational skill development in online students. Cheating prevention during online assessments is complicated, and there is no face-to-face interaction with teachers and other students. I would like to suggest possible solutions to the disadvantages which I have stated above. We can increase internet access in rural areas for easy learning, and as well, we can improve Wi-Fi networks in the areas that you have Wi-Fi already, and as well, provision of cheap smartphones for the students to afford. Thank you so much. I have little to say.
Thank you very much. That's our student representative, and I saw Truman jotting down the notes, and Mr. Lucas there jotting down the notes. So I'm sure they will take up the recommendations that are coming from the students. Would like to ask the teacher representative to come and give us their solidarity message.
Thank you so much, Mr. Riro. I am Eunice Dzidzo from Zengeza 3 High. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Minister of Education, ZIMSEC, and all protocol observed. I would like to express my gratitude to UNESCO in conjunction with MOPS for their tremendous effort in promoting education through WhatsApp, which is most familiar and popular and cheap mode of communication currently. With the background that all schools closed for a long time, as already alluded by previous speakers, coronavirus affected many countries. Zimbabwe was not spared. The WhatsApp online learning is a typical example of merits of social networking that will go a long way in fostering better use of smartphones. I have mentioned about better use of smartphones. I do have a boy who is coming to my home whom I am assisting. One day I asked him, where is your phone? And he said, my parent took it away. He said, I'm going to give you back after the exams. Now, I think we need to make parents know that it's important that they keep their smartphones so that they can access this information. Dzidzo Paden was long overdue because learners were just idle for the period of lockdown, although a few managed to form groups with teachers in an effort to cover the syllabus in different study areas. However, it wasn't very effective. Dzidzo Paden is an excellent innovation that has potential of nurturing good study skills and enhance independent research and development. I would like to thank Truman for his efforts for coming up with this idea of WhatsApp online learning. It won't only benefit the learners, but also the teachers. But however, this information should be sent to the teachers, because once our learners have access to the past exam questions and marking schemes, probably if you go to the class unprepared, it's going to be a challenge to them. Because we usually, as teachers, if a learner comes to correct you, at times we don't take it well. So there's need for us as teachers also to be active users of the WhatsApp online learning. Provision of notes, past exam questions, and marking schemes will help facilitators to prepare the learners for the exam, which has already started. A big message to the parents and guardians. Let's allow the children to access smartphones and use them. We can't fight technology. Let's join hands in teaching the children responsible behavior in adapting technological transformation. This innovation must spread like wildfire to reach all teachers and learners in Zimbabwe. However, there are some various learners from low-income families who need assistance to acquire the smartphones. And also bundles, as I already alluded, when Truman gave the idea that you download when you do have the bundles, that is a very good idea. We also need to have internet access in rural schools so that our teachers and learners can access the information. With this, I rest my case. Tinotenda. Siyabonga. Thank you very much.
It's good to hear from the teacher actually saying we cannot fight technology. So to parents who might be watching, yes, we sometimes we think when we see our kids on their phones, we might think they're actually playing. They are learning, and we heard from the teacher that we need to make sure, maybe make a time to monitor to just see what exactly are they doing. But the chat box, they need their phones to be on WhatsApp and to be learning. We're continuing with our program with a slight adjustment. I would like to now call upon Mr. John Dewa. He is the Chief Director, Curriculum Development and Technical Services from the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. Mr. Dewa, over to you. Okay, it's a sanitizer for the microphone, please. We need the microphone for the live broadcast. I don't think it will take long.
But it's very important. I'm doing so that when we are out there in schools, we observe this COVID rules. Thank you very much. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize the UNESCO Regional Director, Professor Hubert Gizen. I'm sure he's listening. And all esteemed guests who are here today, all protocols observed. And let me not forget to recognize Truman. Truman, where are you? Truman, you should be the guest of honor. You should be the guest of honor. Allow me to preface my remarks by apologizing for coming a bit late. I had yet another engagement with a partner who supports education in a very big way. And as such, accept my apologies. Let me also preface my remarks by advising Truman and UNESCO that the learners indeed appreciate and understand the lingo Paden. But our constitution, hence the ministry, appreciates that we use standard indigenous language orthography, such as has been suggested, Pamatso, Pamusha, Imfundwe'ndlini, and so forth. But since it is too late to change the name, please ensure that on your front page or on the Facebook, you give a short explanation of what a den means. Our other Zimbabweans or even foreigners, when they hear the word den, they associate that with some, home for the hyena, the lion, the leopard. But our Zimbabwean, youngsters have used that slang to show that they best Paden at home, isn't it? But not everybody understands that. So as a ministry, we want to use the language that is understood by the indigenous people, our own, we've got 16 languages in the constitution, and you can pick on any one of those and make sure you do the same. I'm saying so for those who are yet to come. I know we've had a discussion, a heated discussion with my sister, Dr. Machawe. But what pleases me most, this is why I had to rush. Initially, I'd given Mrs. Maiseli, she has left. She's around. Miss Maiseli is the director in the Special Needs Education Department. And I'd called her to come and read the speech because I had a meeting with this ambassador. So I now realize how busy permanent sectors can be because I'm acting there. There were 3 meetings going on. There's one in CDTS where we are introducing our Profutro, which is an ICT-related digital platform. You know, it's in Mat North and Mat South. There was a meeting at the embassy, the British ambassador. You know how much they support us, the FID. And there was a launch of the Dzidzo Maso here, and they're coming from our own #1 client. So this to me is very, very important. But the other was equally important, particularly the other one would lose some bit of funding if we don't support them. But here, because the examinations are around the corner, I really wanted to make sure that I'm here, and the revision material I'm talking about, I saw you were clicking grade 7, form 4, form 6, is made available to our learners yesterday, because exams are around the corner. So this is why we are here. So the COVID-19 pandemic has affected people regardless of nationality, level of education, income, or gender. This crisis has exposed many inadequacies and inequities in our education systems. That is from access to continuity of online education and the supportive environments needed to focus on learning, up to the misalignment between resources and needs, because we were caught unaware. This indeed necessitated an impetus for the ministry to develop alternative learning pathway strategies for COVID-19 lockdown period. Alternative education is a program maintained and operated by MOPS that offers learners in non-traditional educational settings academic needs. In order to cover this gap, the MOPS, in collaboration with partners, provided alternative education in the form of study packs, radio lessons, learning management platforms, e.g. Ruziwo learning platform, e.g. learning passports, e.g. MOPS online. And the lack of access to radios, television, computers, and internet left many students unable to engage in remote learning. Hence, the other alternative was to produce study guides and modules that we are printing so that this can be distributed to learners who are in disadvantaged communities. In this regard, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to note that our UN agencies such as UNESCO came in handy through support of the UNESCO MOPS.online. I'm sure this resource in this compound, it's Moses who has been driving this. And this assists learners in accessing study materials. Other partners like UNICEF and UNFPA supported Learning Passport digital platform in the case of UNICEF, and for both they are supporting radio lessons. Let's clap hands for the UN agencies that are accepting it. And finally, they are supporting Dzidzo Matso today. Let's clap hands for them. We hope you continue doing the same. According to Portras 2020, active mobile cell phone subscription stands at, let me just check here, at 13,600,000 724,522, 13.7 million. And the mobile penetration rate is 94.2%. Is what I'm talking about. In other words, this platform, this WhatsApp platform, reaches out to more of our people and learners than any other, because those that are hooked on internet, they will not do so unless they've got a smartphone or a tablet. So from the statistics, we conclude that every household in Zimbabwe has a cell phone, more or less. This device bridges the gap for the MOPS by providing and delivering access to quality e-learning and assessment to all learners. The learners who are digital natives that spend an average of 6 to 8 hours on WhatsApp are now going to spend more hours on the what? On the Dzidzo Pamazo. This scenario has made parents skeptical of the use of cell phone because they spend their time on the what? On the WhatsApp. But now that they spend more time on the WhatsApp for educational purposes, I'm sure the parents will be what? More excited and provide data to our learners. But we're in the information where digital age access and the control information is the defining characteristic of this current era in human development and civilization. So the computer, the digital, and the media age are with us. And let us, for the purposes of this exercise, encourage everybody to have some kind of smartphone or tablet so they can actually access not only this one, but the others that we have also launched in the ministry. Chatbot has many promises for the education sector in Zimbabwe. Chatbot can facilitate the learning of learners with different learning paces, interests, and needs. I see that is the case with your presentation, Truman. They can be used for basic lessons, serve as visual advisors, adapted to learners' abilities. Advantages of using chatbot are reducing costs of personal personal funds that are provided for because of the customer service. I want to believe along the lines UNESCO, you also negotiate with our what do you call them? These providers, Telecel, Tel1, and so forth. Yeah, these network providers, or go through portals, so that we have a kind of zero rating, even Econet. Okay, we have got a similar platform in Manicaland. It is only in the Chimanimani Chipinge area. It uses the same approach. It's called the Viamo, via mobile. But you know, it has got its challenges, and we have approached also these providers so that our learners do not access at the normal commercial rate for their data. Data is quite expensive. We appreciate that. Because for them to upload those files, and they want to download those files, and they want to, I think they need lots of data, isn't it? So that's one area that we can also look at. Then furthermore, the use of chatbot in education area, it detects the emotional state of the students, provides personalized learning. It allows teacher to reduce time, store and analyze data effectively, and improves access to education. I've used these digital platforms. When I was in higher education, thanks to UNESCO, I traveled quite widely on ICT. Thank you very much. And I know exactly what it does to the learners. This is a discipline agent. They get disciplined when they are on the material. It's different for somebody to access WhatsApp and look at some of these characters. You know, we know these characters who are passing on, some of them who are just, you know, coming up on our on our screen. But when you look at the learning material, it instills discipline in you as a learner. And for the teachers, I've talked about digital pedagogy elsewhere. But for learners, this is very good. Clap hands for these young boys. They've done a very good job. A very good job indeed. Chatbot opens up 21st century opportunities for learners in advancing equitable, innovative start for them by exploring usability, learning, and social interaction through mobile access to online learning by allowing learners to access learning materials on their mobile. I've already said this. Let me also, the other issues I think have already been presented here by Dr. Machawira, but it's important that the chatbot Dzidzo Pamaso, Imfundwe'ndlini, will allow MOPS's 4.5 million learners the capacity to access mobile learning content across multiple contexts through social and content interactions. At this juncture, I'm urging all parents to please procure smartphones, not these small, he's already saying mbudzi. Somebody from Japan or England would have said what mbudzi is. You know, those small little phones that are not internet friendly, okay? But we want them to use my smartphones. I know it takes a lot of data, but we can't help it. So, with those few words, I want to conclude my remarks by encouraging other learners to do the same, and thanking ZIMSEC, you know, because these past exam papers are very important for revision purposes. We have also uploaded the same content on our UNESCO MOPS online, on our UNICEF passport MOPS online, also on our website. Now this one is going to be accessed by those with smartphones, but the other two will be accessed by those with tablets or, you know, computers and the laptops. But yours now is ahead of what the ministry has done, because they can access on the what? On the mobile phone, but not on the chimbuzi you are talking about. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening attentively. I rest my case.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dewa. I think before you actually go down to sit, I'll still call you up, and calling also Dr. Machawira as well as ZIMSEC rep to come, and then we do the official launch. Okay. And can we show the number on the screen? Mm-hmm. Is it possible to show the number on the screen? Where is it? Oh, +263, maybe for the benefit of those who are actually at home. The number is +263 787 064 484. That's +263 787 064 484. You can actually save the number on your phones, and then you send a hi message, and you see the magic that happens after that. So over to you, Dr. Machawira, and how are you launching?
I think you're supposed to use your phone.
Oh, phone.
Yeah.
And then so Mr. Nyandoro, Mr. Dewa, have you registered?
I have what should I do now? What was the next step?
Mr. Lucas.
access the platform and then we can show on television that
You send which message?
hi.
Just send a hi.
Hello, user. Stop myself.
Yeah, it's registered.
Yeah, it says here. It just says here. Do you agree to receive notifications from this?
Uh-huh.
Click this and that.
Okay. Okay, so I'm sure we could see that so we can see now from Dr. Machawira's phone, Dzidzo Paden, after registering, she sent a hi message, and yes, Dzidzo Paden responded, hi Patricia, already. I don't know how it knows that it's Patricia. I told you there's some magic that happens there. Whoever you are, just try it. It will know who you are, and the age as well. It asks us about our age, and I know for us, usually we get a bit uncomfortable, but we heard from Truman that we need to feel free and enter our ages. The system won't be disturbed. It will continue. So I think we need to get just few remarks, one word each, as we launch. From Dr. Machawira, how are you describing this? From Zimsek, how are you describing it? That's Ms. Nyandoro, Mr. Dewa, how in one word, I'm saying one word, how are you describing it as we are launching it? Just one word. From and Mr. Lucas as well, hey? I'll start with you, actually.
Wonderful.
Wonderful, yes.
Exciting.
One word. Over to you, Dr. Machawira, as we launch one word to describe Dzidzo Pamatso, Dzidzo Paden.
One word is difficult, Harry, but I'll say hopeful.
Hopeful, yes.
Marvelous.
Marvelous.
Accessible.
Accessible, yes. So, and you are declaring it officially launched. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'll call upon again Dr. Machawira to come and give us a vote of thanks and a presentation of visibility souvenirs from UNESCO. Closing remarks, those are the vote of thanks from Dr. Machawira. And those with the visibility souvenirs, could you get them closer to Dr. Machawira? Over to you, Dr. Machawira.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Thank you, colleagues, for your time that you spent with us this morning. When Tari asked me for one word, I said hopeful. I really, really, really feel for these young people. I have a son who's also doing his O-levels. So this year has been difficult. So we are hopeful that with these resources, it's not going to be the complete solution, but at least it will help. And it will help particularly those young people who are disadvantaged. And even as we go into 2021, I hope that we'll be able to expand access. I want to take this chance to congratulate the ministry on the launch of MOPSI Online and the other various platforms. We didn't know about that. The moment you said it, I started looking it up. There's very useful information there. I went to the study guides that you mentioned. There's a grade 7 maths, grade 7 English study guide. And my request to the ministry, which will follow up, is that if we can make those study guides available on Dzidzo Pamatso, because of the challenges, again, that we're talking about of learners accessing using internet. I was able to access them because I have data on my phone, but a lot of young people will not be able to. The guides are very good, so we'll continue the discussions, I think, with the ministry to make sure that we expand the resources so that we give our young people a chance. So thank you very much to the ministry for your time. I would like to thank our partners, Zimsek, for the time and also for the resources that you availed. To Amigos, it's a partnership. We continue and we really thank you and appreciate. Truman, really, and also to say to your school, I think we've seen something about the education that you are receiving, where you are able to think outside the box, to think critically about, if I'm accessing, what about others who are not accessing? You had an idea and you were not shy, you pursued it. So thank you, and I hope you'll be able to motivate other young people in the same way that you did. So thank you very much. I'll ask for the gift bags to come through. While they're bringing them, just to thank our teachers. They're in a really, really difficult situation. They have half-baked learners who are supposed to go and write their exams. And we thank you for, for your hard work. We thank you for your perseverance. And to the learners, just remember, this is not your problem alone. I think do your best, with the exams that are coming. And we really wish you all the best. Thank you. So I'll start with Mr. Dewa. Thank you so much, sir. Some souvenirs from UNESCO. Dzidzo from Dzidzo Pamatso crew. Mr. Nyandoro from Zimsek. Please, our regards to the rest of the Zimsek crew. This one is for Mrs. Maisiri from the ministry, or you can give it to... Okay. To our beloved teacher, Tinotenda. This one is for the man of the moment, Truman. Yeah. Oh, Kwai MC Vashaya, please organize one for the MC. And to the crew from ZTN, thank you very much for coming through and broadcasting us live.
Thank you very much.
For the MC, yes, last but not least.
So these are the, I'm sure we can see, these are the visibility souvenirs from UNESCO. Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone. I am now going to cross over to Majita. She is going to close this live broadcast for us. UNESCO, this must not be the first and the last. We know your commitment, not just in Zimbabwe, but in East and Southern Africa and globally as well. And we are hoping that this excellent initiative will continue in all countries. Majita, it's over to you.
Right. Hi, Truman. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Truman. So I had established that you are studying chemistry, mathematics, English language, and physics. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, what made you come up with an IT-based educational app that is going to help all our learners?
Well, I think it's basically a passion. I'm doing maths, physics, chem, but I'm very passionate about computers. I believe that in this fourth industrial revolution, we have to pay attention to technology, and I believe it can solve a lot of challenges. So I think that's one of the reasons why, I was interested in using technology to solve this problem.
Speaking of challenges, we are going to just reiterate the problem that his application is solving. Let's go, Truman.
All right. So the problem that we are solving is basically in access to academic resources, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic time. I mean, even without the pandemic, there are a lot of students who have no access to these resources. So we're trying to make them accessible to as many learners as possible, especially the exam classes through WhatsApp.
Right. And we were talking about the name. So Zimbabwe has 16 official languages. What made you pick Dzidzo, Paden, Imfundwe'ndlini? Wanga wakagara Paden wakangoti powder grind over pressure.
Yeah, definitely. So initially, I didn't even have a name, and I created a video to just explain what the chatbot was about. And then my brother Morton, who's here, said that I should find a catchy name that people would relate to. And then that's basically how I thought of Dzidzo Paden, because I was just thinking, how about we just name it Dzidzo Paden to embrace our youthfulness? And I guess that's basically how it came about.
How about now? Were there any consultations when you came up with this idea? Who did you consult? And, were there any complaints, any improvements that you then worked on after receiving complaints? let's talk about the consultation process.
Definitely. So I think my main motivator and critique is my brother Motun. I usually passed everything through him, and then he would just give his recommendations and everything that, you know, didn't really make sense or should have been removed. So I received a lot of what I thought was harsh, but criticism that was constructive, and that really just helped to propel everything. So I think my brothers mainly, and yeah, my parents too.
Well, we thank them for that constructive criticism, because now we are here innovating, coming up with ideas for making resources more accessible to our learners. And the last question that I want to ask you, Truman, is, now Dzidzo Paden is capable of being protected by trademark laws in Zimbabwe. Now, a trademark is a legal term that is used to describe a word that brings in custom. So it is the attractive force that brings in custom. Have you considered trademarking Dzidzo Paden?
Interestingly enough, someone asked me the same question. It's a very good question. And though I would say unorthodox, I would say no. Because, you know, I'm open to the idea of even 50 or 70 people adopting this idea and doing the exact same thing. Because the vision is to ensure that, you know, students have access to these resources. So in a sense, if we have a lot of people who can, you know, provide these resources, that would be great.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your help. This has been an exciting experience. We have learned about innovation, how we can help get children to access more educational materials. Thank you, Truman, for helping us, and thank you to everybody who is here, everybody who is watching, and everybody who has graced this event. We can't wait to get this party started. ZIMSEC, examination boards, we are ready for you. Right, Truman?
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Right at the back.